Now we will study the properties of expenditure function. I would request all of you, in order to understand the properties of expenditure function, check my video with the name of expenditure function. That would be very helpful in a way that the equations that are used in these properties are taken from the expenditure function. First property of expenditure function is that the expenditure function is concave in prices. Given the prices of the goods, okay, the prices of the goods x1, x2 till xi, the expenditure function is concave in the prices of these goods. When we are studying the expenditure function, the reference to goods, then it is not concave, but when we are studying it with its behavior with reference to the prices, then it is concave in the prices. Suppose we have the vector prices, that is P1, okay, and the second vector price is P double prime. What we have over here is that we have two price vectors, P prime and P double prime, and there's a constant termed as K. Now the value of K, it can be either 0 or 1, or it lies between 0 or 1. That is, it is greater than 0 and less than 1. Now the equilibrium price for the goods P bar is equal to K into P bar, okay? It is the product of K times the first price vector plus the product of 1 minus K. That is, this value is subtracted with 1 minus K times the second price vector. Now, when we are now deriving the property, what we get is we get the expenditure. Okay, what we get now over here is the ISO expenditure line, which is M, and this expenditure line has the P bar, that is the equilibrium prices given the utility function of the individual. Now, this utility should be maximum. P bar are the equilibrium prices at which of course, the consumer is willing and ready to purchase the product, and the seller is also willing to sell the product at this price. So therefore, this ISO expenditure function, this function is of the equilibrium prices given the utility. Now, this is greater than the constant value of K times the same function. But now in this function, what we have the first vector price, then plus 1 minus K times the expenditure function, where we have the second price vector and the utility of the consumer. So therefore, given the two price vectors and given the value of K, what we can do is that we can derive this particular function, and we find that, and we can easily find out that the function M P bar U is greater than Km P prime U plus 1 minus Km into P double prime of U. What happens over here is that these are taken as functions of P bar U, okay? And this is also taken as function of P double bar U. Now these have been derived from the expenditure function which we have studied in the previous recording, as I have already told you. Now what do we have over here is the second property. Now the second property is the Shepard's lemma. Shepard's lemma is a very important property of this expenditure function, and it is the version of the envelope theorem. In the Shepard's lemma, we will study the function that we derived in the expenditure function, and therefore I would like to go to that function first in order to show you that from where or what function will we take. Okay, now let's move to our function. Now this is the function, that is summation pi xi star is equal to summation pi hi pu. Okay, now what function is this? This is the demand function, which is generally referred to as either Hickson demand function or the compensated demand function. Why is it the Hickson demand function or the compensated demand function? Because in this demand function, when the price of one of the good increases or decreases, whereas the price of the other good remains the same, and most importantly, the utility of the consumer remains the same. Then what happens is that the consumer has to compensate that price change in such a way that the utility of consumer remains the same. Again, the compensated demand function can also be of the form that price of both goods changes, okay? Still, the utility of the consumer should remain the same. then this Hickson demand function or the compensated demand function states that the consumer's behavior should be such that he should remain on the same utility, on the same indifference curve so that his or her utility remains the same. Therefore, this function is known as Hickson demand function. Now, what will we do in the Shepard's lemma? We will take this function, summation pi xi star is equal to summation pi hi given pu. We will differentiate this with reference to the ith price. Okay, now here we are differentiating it with reference to the ith price, that is summation pi. We will differentiate this function with reference to ith price, and then we will get an equation of the following form, which I will solve it for you. So for that, we need to go back to our own second property heading. Okay. Now what happened over here was that we had that function where we had, okay, I'll not go to this directly. Rather, what will I do is that I will solve it for you, and then when we get this particular equation, we will study it. What we did was we had this function, okay, we had the following Hickson demand function where summation pi hi given the p comma u is equal to NPU. Okay. Now we can see that the first property also involves this particular function. Let me go back. Okay, let's look at this function. Okay, now we will derive this particular function with reference to the ith prices, and therefore what we'll get is we will get curly m. Now we will get curly m upon curly pi. Okay, curly m upon curly pi is equal to xi star plus summation. Now here the value of the prices starts from 1 and ends at n. Yeah. Then we have p j. This is the main derivation that is used. Pj into curly x j star. Now, why are we using j over here? Is that because we are assuming that it is not only the price, rather there is the price of good j as well. Xj divided by curly pi. Okay. Now this, after further solving it, we get now what we get over here is that after solving it further, we get xi star, this same value, okay, xi star plus, here comes the lambda, the Lagrangian multiplier. Lambda will be multiplied with the constraint function where the value of j starts from 1 and ends at n. Then we have u, j, curly, okay, this is j. Then we have curly xj star divided by curly pi. Okay, and this is equal to xi star. Now, why is this equal to xi star? Now, a very important point comes over here, which should be understood by the students, of course, that we should know that the utility is held constant. Okay, the utility U is held constant when the value of Pi varies. Then differentiating the constraint with respect to Pi, differentiating the constraint with respect to Pi, it will show that this whole function, that is, okay, let me select this marker, then it will show that this whole function is equal to 0. Once again, let me repeat. As the utility is held constant, where's you over here we have, okay? This utility is held constant when the value of Pi varies, and therefore differentiating the constraint. What we have, which constraint we have over here is that utility is kept constant, okay? Now by differentiating the constraint with respect to Pi, it shows that this whole function will be equal to 0. And if this whole function is equal to 0, then it means that the only thing that will be left over here is xi star, okay? The only value left over here after partially differentiating the function with reference to Pi is equal to xi star. So therefore, we can also say that Pi, okay, let me select the first. We can also say that Pi is equal to lambda ui. Now lambda is multiplied by u. Why? Because it is lambda, because the utility function is constraint function. The utility of the consumer is kept constant. A change can be brought into the prices only. And therefore, for this very reason, we took the fixed demand function, which is the compensated demand function. Therefore, Pi is equal to lambda ui from the first order condition. That is, when we took the first order, used the first order condition or the first order derivative, we got Pi is equal to lambda ui. Now, utility is held constant, again repeating the same statement, when the P varies. Therefore, by differentiating it, we get curly L upon curly lambda. Okay, curly L upon curly lambda is equal to U minus U into x1, x2 till xn. Right? And therefore, again, when we derive this function, the term that we get, that will also be equal to 0. That is summation n j is equal to 1. Okay? Curly x star j. Curly x star j. I'm trying to make it understandable for you people in my limited resources. And I'm trying to write the terms as clear as possible. So therefore, summation n j is equal to 1 curly x star j divided by, with reference to curly Pi star, it is equal to 0. Because by differentiating the function with reference to the constraint will give us the value, that is, will yield the value equal to 0. Therefore, the partial derivative of expenditure function with reference to ith price is compensated demand for the ith good. That is, it is the compensated demand for the ith good. Okay, let's study or read the statement again from here. We are now interpreting this particular statement. When we, okay, I have to go up again. Now, therefore, the partial derivative of the expenditure function with reference to the partial derivative of this expenditure function with reference to the ith price is the compensated demand for the ith good. This is the value after we differentiated the function with reference to the ith price. Now we will move to the third property. Third property states that now we will differentiate the function again, but now this time the function will be the n function and it will be differentiated with reference to the ith price. That is, the expenditure function is differentiated in the third property. Now the third property states that curly n upon curly pi should be greater than or equal to 0 with a strict inequality. That is, xi star should be greater than 0. That is, it cannot be equal to 0. Rather, it should be greater than 0. This is a strict inequality. So therefore, at least one good or both must be brought. The consumer, if he is consuming good x1 and good x2, then at least one or the other good or both of these goods are brought by the consumer. That is, expenditure function is non-decreasing in the prices. Therefore, the expenditure function is non-decreasing in the prices, and therefore it is greater than or equal to 0. And strictly increasing in at least one price. Therefore, xi star should be greater than 0. Higher prices mean higher expenditure to reach a given utility. Of course, if the price increases, then in order to attain the same level of utility, the consumer has to increase the expenditures also to consume the same amount of goods as he was consuming before. Now we move to the fourth property. What is the fourth property about? The fourth property is about the expenditure function is homogeneous of degree 1 in prices. Okay, now the fourth property is expenditure function is homogeneous of degree 1. Now take a given value of u and p. Okay, now we have u, the utility function, and p, the prices. Okay, now p are taken as p naught. That is, the power of p is equal to 0. Clear? Now let m naught is equal to of course, when this is m naught, then the value of p will become p naught. And again, we know that the utility function will remain the same. Therefore, it is now equal to p naught of the prices of the commodity x naught. Now, x naught is the expenditure minimizing bundle at p naught. Suppose this is x1, x2. Okay. Now, what is x naught? Suppose the consumer opts to buy both goods at this point. So this point is the x naught. Sorry, what does not count, so okay. Therefore, now this x naught is the expenditure minimizing bundle at p naught prices. That is, therefore, p naught x naught. Therefore, p naught x naught. It should be, or it should always be either less than or equal to p naught x. P naught x. Okay, one thing I would like to do here is that grab this note from here and write it over here. Now p naught x naught is less than or equal to p naught x for all the bundles of x yielding utility of u or more. That is, what does this state? It states that